So welcome back to the second video. It's the 7th of January. Market is opening in 4 minutes. I already did a couple of small things like marking out the time zones for today. Yesterday, as a take back, I did miss this 15-minute trade, which I said was going to happen. I said price is going to go back into that zone before sweeping this liquidity, and it actually did, but I had to leave the setup before I could take that trade. I probably would have, and it would have been like 100 points on NQ, so just huge. But I'm not going to focus on yesterday, I'm going to focus on today. Okay, market opens in a couple of seconds, and I'm back. It's a really quick setup. So we see Tokyo price action has been BS. We have news today at 16 or 4 p.m. So in half an hour at 10. Probably price is gonna move off of that. We don't have a significant 15-minute fair value gap except this one, but that's like it's not the best one, and it has already been taken. But I'm gonna mark it anyways. Could be some kind of draw. We definitely have drawn buy side liquidity. I would just call it high side liquidity, like liquidity that could make the market sell. And actually, funny thing is, yes, we are currently probably gonna sweep it, but the best thing that could happen is sweep of London low. That's usually what price does. I think I talked about it yesterday as well, that for my setup, usually the best thing to happen is that London sweeps Tokyo low, which happened. It didn't happen yesterday. It did happen today, and then we can take London low and trade bullish off of that. Now, the thing is, yeah, that's correct. I thought maybe it'd sweep it, but it didn't. We have a high time frame fair value gap over here, a high time frame imbalance. Do we not? Yes, we do. 4 hour or not? Wait a minute. No, we actually don't, which is better. Which is actually better than if we did, because that would mean price action would kind of be unpredictable today. But we also have this daily imbalance that we did fill now, yesterday, and now it depends, are we going to break through that, trying to get to this liquidity here, and eventually maybe even higher liquidity from middle of December and maybe all-time highs, start of end of October and Halloween. Yeah, it totally depends, I would say, on this gap, because we didn't really build one before. We tapped into this one and we kind of respected that. But now, as you can see, price is acting off of ES, and Q is kind of not doing the same thing at the moment, at least. I'm gonna stay on the 5-minute here, and I'm gonna leave to the 5-minute here as well. Please start loading. What is happening? Thank you very much. Yeah. And then, though, since this is happening right now, I would even consider that ES may break this gap because it tapped into it and then it's in that area again. They are moving in totally opposite directions at the moment, which also is kind of weird. Like I said, usually ES is in the back and NQ is in front, so NQ should potentially already be lower than ES, but it's actually much higher. NQ is going up, ES is going down. In very rare cases, NQ goes in front and leads ES. It could also be that we sweep this liquidity, maybe this one. What I want to find out right now, I don't know why it takes so long to switch time frames. Regardless, when we both have this Tokyo level as liquidity, and it basically is both the same. You know, yesterday we kind of had weird liquidity. London is also similar on both ES and NQ. So depends. Are we going to sweep this? There's a high right there. There's a high right there. We kind of swept both, and then this. But we didn't sweep Tokyo. Maybe NQ does want to sweep Tokyo. And now we have a reaction on ES. So it's most likely we're going to sweep Tokyo high now. We're very close, you know. Although we didn't sweep it on ES, which is kind of weird, but yeah. Something we just gotta work with. I want to find out how much that actually is. Yesterday I did something like that, showed technically could take trades like that. It's a bit riskier. What the fuck is that even? You could technically take trades like that. It's a bit riskier. Like, I don't know, like 5 points, but there's a lot of noise that comes in. So let's assume you went in right now, right? Or like a second ago when it was like there, and then you set your stop loss like at the end of the candle to not lose too much if there's a lot of noise. And technically you'd be correct. The trade is most likely to sweep liquidity, but you're also very likely to get swept out by trading noise like this. So generally your assumption could have been correct or has a high probability. A price often retraces again before sweeping a high or low. So in this case, obviously would have been a loss. Like I said, you kind of see that here. Could also be that it just wants to invalidate that it makes a fair value gap, an imbalance. Invalidated is 1 minute gap, not that thing. But what I am thinking about right now is the price is not moving very nice. It's not moving very neatly. It did move up. No, it did move down, then up on ES. It moved only up, now down on NQ. Without sweeping any liquidity or showing any sign where it goes, in my opinion. If we go on higher time frames for a second. Draw would definitely be on the side, but I would still say, yeah, it would make a lot of sense if we swept this low first and then went higher than even this, like up there. Or we swept this high and then went lower. But definitely that we want to take this. So there's like a 1 hour fair value gap here. Now I keep saying fair value gap, usually I only say imbalance. But that's how trading is sometimes. We really want to just take setups that we're comfortable with, not some BS just to trade. We got a lot of noise, definitely. Probably gonna happen. Something is gonna happen around 10 because of this news. It's gonna come out. Then maybe we're gonna move drastically. Although I still think down, not up. I think something is gonna happen once we sweep liquidity on either ES or NQ, it doesn't matter. Okay, now we did on ES, so technically in SNT. If ES reverses, otherwise it's not really, it's just a breakthrough, and then NQ is probably gonna break it as well. So we're gonna mark up this right here as a break of low, and then this has already been kind of invalidated. We still have a low here. That's important. Now, question is, would we be open to entering a trade very close to news and where price is going to move now? We gotta close a couple of candles before we can say, because even though price moves down, there could just be orders being executed or some being taken, and then price still moving further up like it's happening right now. So for me, that's why it often doesn't make sense to just enter a trade once liquidity has been swept, because that doesn't mean that price is gonna move in that direction. But in this case, we took both. We took Tokyo on ES and on NQ. Then we actually also took this. Let's see this. Which low is that? This one. It's like this low, not even higher than that, but like this one. But for example, for reasons, this is much higher on NQ. So the question is, are we gonna sweep that? Maybe we're gonna build a gap that can sweep that. But that basically invalidates all of this. This goes over here, as well as this is gone, and this comes over here. Question is, are we gonna do this? That's like a pretty big SMT, maybe in a 4 hour, both. So you kind of SMT, technically, daily gap, pretty bullish. But that could be an in to trade longs up there. Now, it all depends on how we are going to react. We have no 5-minute gaps, no gaps. That means it's not really a draw, except for this one, which is a 1-minute gap. But we're gonna see how price reacts off of this, very likely. So either ES is gonna respect it like it usually does, or it is going to break it. If it doesn't happen, that's just weird. I hope it does. Actually, I'm pretty sure it will. That's kind of just what ES does, even if it takes long. Like I said yesterday, chances that a 1 minute gap will be filled are much lower than a 5 or 15 minute. So you can't always rely on that. It's better to kind of have a row 15, 5, 1. 15 is pretty sure most of the time, like 99%, that it also gets respected unless there's like huge liquidity somewhere. We still get weird PA like halfway between open and 10 a.m. So like news today. Liquidity sweep up until now didn't do much yet. As you can see, ES broke even higher and Q did not. Q is kind of chilling, kind of moving sideways, manipulation. But we didn't even tap the 1 minute. Maybe we get complete manipulation if this kind of closes bearish. That would be, I would show market manipulation. When we get an order, like a gap of orders, that's the best thing. Huge wicks everywhere. Price moving sideways. Sometimes you just gotta do that. Not really anything to base anything off of. It's like gambling. Okay, we're moving though. We're moving somewhere. It seems as if even NQ could do it. Break the high. Maybe there's a trade in there. Maybe there is. But like a really small stop loss if we were to take a trade, like not right now. But definitely building a 15-minute gap is gonna close in 7 minutes, 12 minutes, sorry. And we probably built a 5-minute already. No, we did not, but we will in 2 minutes. So this, not yet, but soon, maybe. Yeah. We're probably gonna fill this 1 minute gap with this move down. So something kind of like filling this and then maybe going up again, or moving upward until the 5 closes and then moving in the 5-minute gap, or like the third option, something that happened yesterday as well with a 5-minute gap, but then we moved upwards until a 15-minute gap was built, and then we moved down after moving sideways a bit. Really annoying, I really have to say. It's like, what the fuck are you doing? But something we gotta live with. We know the new 15-minute is gonna close once we hit this. The news. But as you can see, prices moving weird. We're just gonna wait. I'm gonna mark this hello as I'm probably gonna cut, maybe not, towards opening until or something happens. Although we're moving in the 1 minute now. And we close the last 5 minutes. Does we do that? Are we wrong? This one we did, but ugly actually moved in already. Also, this is a really super ultra bearish candle. $10, and we did not take it. But you can't really trust NQ on this. You gotta trust ES. But that's like not the best thing. Definitely want to go in there. Imagine price is just going. That would be like super weird. Yeah, but we are moving. We break it, or we did break it. So we're probably not going to build a 15-minute gap on. Yeah, if we go below this point, then we don't even have a 15-minute one. Not the best thing, but maybe we get this move so that we can base shorts. Now, why am I looking for shorts when the daily bias is basically more bullish? It's because there's buying opportunity down here. Although you're correct, the usual daily bias is bullish. But we get an SMT. It may be very possible that NQ wants to sweep the high up there. That's why it's kind of didn't react off of hitting this. And now we have reached this gap. And now we may even be able to move pretty good upward. But there's still a 15-minute gap that we could build. Sometimes I just stop talking. I'm not really used to me filming myself. So that's something that I live with. A bit weird PA to be honest, but overall bull. But in 7 minutes this news comes out and we get a 15-minute. So I would close any open trade at 4/10. No, it did. It did high. Probably gonna go up until here. You can see we moved off of my arrow. That was pretty obvious though. We had gained like 10 points also. Also like a really small trade, but it's, I don't know, 20 bucks, no, 200 bucks on one NQ. But as you can see overall, stop that trade. Because there's no real basis. 5 minutes. 5 minutes. Gonna cut to news. So it's 10 slash 4 p.m. So we have the news now, as you can see, bullshit PA right now. So we gotta move, otherwise we're out for the day. But like this news actually moving the market that crazy. Got good news. It's still pending also. Still pending. But like how big the market moves off of this. Definitely possible to catch some shorts probably. Towards London low. I think that's the most likely scenario. So we get like a negative and a positive. Yeah, we're gonna have to see. But this is how crazy news affects the market. That's why I wouldn't have scheduled a trade or anything until now, or closed every trade before now, because I knew the price would start moving. Unfortunately, we don't really have a target. I don't really have a target except London low, and there's no real basis for the trade. No gaps, nothing except this inverted 5 minute, but it's only because of news, so price could definitely just reverse. But we definitely see this as a target. That's what we would want. That's our number one priority. It certainly looks good. Maybe enter a trade. Let's look at this. Then we have a 1 minute gap, whether we can tap that. And that could tell us a lot. For some reason, NQ actually leads a bit. Not yet. But yeah, let's see whether we react off this gap, which could potentially give us a short. Really like to take a trade today, but I'm still gonna acknowledge what Powell said, which is to rather look for a reason not to trade than to look for a reason to trade. So if price just doesn't move, what do we want to do? Then we just can't take trades, right? But we are currently seeming to invert this 15-minute gap, which has been taken already, but it's still a good level, and we took the low, which could give us an in to go long, but now we just gotta see what price does. Maybe it breaks through, maybe it completely reverses just because of the low. Now we're in the gap on NQ, not yet on ES. I also usually enter trades on NQ. Like, it's so rare that I enter trades on ES. I don't even know why. I'm so used to NQ, I guess. Nasdaq. But it still looks a bit weird. ES is kind of having its own mind. It doesn't really want to take the gap, even though NQ did. So yesterday I had no problem predicting very accurately where price would go. Today it's a bit different, but it's generally not the best price action. If I'm being honest, there was no real basis for a good trade yet. And I won't sit here like all day praying that the price will hit a certain level so I can enter a trade. No. If it's not here in a bit, then I'll just leave it at that. If something presents itself after, maybe I'll start also trading a bit later. Like, start obviously at 9:30, but if there's no entry at all, maybe look at it a bit later. Because, for example, yesterday, the really good setup actually represented itself at like 5 p.m. or so. It's currently 4. So NQ even broke the gap, and ES isn't even in there. Let's see. Definitely though that we had a reaction off of this low. I wouldn't have guessed. I thought we would probably go lower, but we kind of this low. It's kind of the same thing. It's technically an SMT, yeah. Let's see. Let's see what happens now, since ES is in there. And whether ES respects it or not, though since NQ is kind of in the front, I could see that NQ actually leads ES further up, but maybe not. That totally will depend on what happens next. Also, if we close below the gap, is that an entry? I would not technically say so. Also because ES is so much further back, and NQ kind of drags ES, not the other way around. But even after the news, we're moving pretty slow today. We tapped the 1 minute gap on NQ. We don't have one on ES. ES is going lower. NQ is really not wanting to go lower, it seems. It's inside the gap right now. But ES is following the 1 minute. We're building a 5 minute right now with that. But it looks as if ES wants to go lower. Maybe tap the low again. If it reverses off that, well, that's just all price action. And NQ is just not doing anything. But that's just how it is sometimes. Sometimes you just don't get an entry. Which is also going to be the title of this video. I'm not gonna lie. Also, I think the camera is going to die very soon. Well, if it does, I'm still gonna be here without my voice and only the video, so just so you know. I'm gonna have to charge my camera better for tomorrow. Like I said, it's all very spontaneous today. I didn't think about charging the cam today because I had a client before, but yeah, the price action, I'm really going to puke. It's like really awful, and we're probably not gonna take a trade today. But today I didn't miss a setup. I didn't really see one, and I don't really think there is one. Not a proper one, at least. Because even if ES taps that low again, like what's gonna happen? It's if it's gonna reverse again, because we do have kind of equal highs here. That's weird. If it doesn't go there at all, that's weird as well. And if it breaks through, like what is NQ doing? It's going higher while ES is going low. They're completely going in opposite directions. Out of experience, I would say one of the two is bound to just explode to follow the other one, but I could potentially trade NQ if it would follow ES, but it doesn't. It's like really not doing that. Now what's gonna happen? We're kind of in the equal low area again in the 15 minute. London low is here. Like imagine ES just going down and Q going up, then I'm off, dude. Not in. Most definitely not. Like what the hell is this candle? You know? Such indecision. This would have been a perfect setup if the same thing happened kind of over here. That could have been an in, like trading from below the gap towards the low over here. But it's just not happening. And let me guess, this is probably just gonna reverse again. Really not good. Did I get any views on the last video? I'm actually interested. I just uploaded it, so I really doubt it, and I don't really care too much. It got 1 view. That's actually crazy. Well, this is for the day 2. I'm just gonna continue like now. Probably no one will see this, but this is for me. Maybe if I have the time, since that's like huge amount of work I have right now. So it's unlikely that I will make a lot of TikToks out of this. But soon, maybe. But I definitely want to thank everyone who did see this. Probably no one did. And I'll be back tomorrow.